Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Teti Melia. My ID number is 18212205. In here, I would like to explain about the last material. And the last material is about interaction in the lecture hall, interaction in the group room, and the conclusion. And the first is about interaction in the lecture hall. In the first expert, we meet the students and a teacher in the lecture hall. The teacher is asked to conduct a literature seminar that is designed by other teachers, and she has not booked the room herself. Consequently, she does not know beforehand in what kind of room the seminar is taking place. There is a common understanding of the genre of the space as a lecture hall, as I have previously described in the article. Students too said, yes, it has to be a lecture. It has to be someone telling something. That is what you think about. There is no room for discussion. One thinks about someone standing in front, telling something, and there will be a lot of people listening. And then the teacher say, when you enter a room like this, you already have a clear image of what is going to happen. The understanding of the space as a lecture hall leads to both students and teacher expecting a focus on the teacher in the front, indicating the front as an active space, a form of stage for a lecture, while the back is more of a passive space, a place for listening. And then this is a picture when the students and the teacher in the lecture hall. The lecture hall in itself does not offer the students a great deal of flexibility, and this example shows how students have agency and tend to use their position and then in the room to show an unwillingness to interact verbally, and then they are alienated from interaction, as Goffman 1967 said. Some students are taking notes while some look away or look down into the table or a book. And then the power is not fixed in the clear center, and the angle in the room puts the teacher in vulnerable positions when she acts as a performer to the audience. When the teacher grabs the sense of non-participation, she starts to move. This is the picture of still room film. In these stills, we can follow how the teacher used the layout of the rooms as resources in her effort to build communication with the students. She changed her positions and chose a more side-on perspective towards the students, and then this could mean a lower degree of involvement, but the teacher walks upstairs facing the group, and then in this way she is creating a new frontal angle from her perspective, and then offers new ways for the student to involve, and then she is also using the vertical axis in the room and trying to establish a new power position walking up the stairs. And then she even puts her book into the fore and points out what it say, but they still receive no verbal response. For example, the teacher say, and now I'm standing here talking. It is quite the opposite to what the literature say. And then this does not mean that there is a lack of interaction. Instead, as I have highlighted before, the students also have agency and use the resources in the space setting, body position, books and notebooks to be active. However, it is obvious that the students do not want to interact in a dialogue regarding the literature. How can the example of interaction in this space be understood? The teacher is working against the shared understanding of the general lecture hall in a process of redesign. She is using the layout of the room, the textual metafunction, and her position in the room to signal something new, leaving the front or trying to extend it beyond the separated space. and then she is trying to create different relation with the students, the interpersonal metafunction, and then a traditional lecture hall affords. Consequently, the lecture hall could be understood with the concept designed for learning as Selander 2008, Selander and Kress 2010 said. For the space constitutes an important part of forming the learning process. The lecture hall is per se a part of campus space in higher education, and there is common understanding of the genre of the space. In this example, the teacher does not consider the room as a part of the didactic designs. Much depends on her being in the hands of other teachers' choice when it comes to course and seminar designs. The concept of designs in learning helps us to understand space as a resource in a learning process. Even if the teacher does not integrate space as a part of the didactic design beforehand, she constantly has to reflect and act in the room during the seminar. She redesigned the room and tries to transform the meaning and the genre of the space as a lecture hall. She continuously represents her understanding of the room in an effort to communicate with some of the students. In turn, the students also have agency and use the resources in the room to design their responses whether they participate or not. And then the second is about interaction in the group room. In the group room, the participants read the meaning potential in the group room as a place for interaction and group work. In fact, it is a form that is well known to everybody. As a result, the genre of the group room is well established. And then the two occasions of seminars have a similar design. The two teachers are planning to conduct a literature seminar. The students are instructed to form groups and discuss their reading of the literature. And then the participants also accept the space as it, even if the room offers flexibility. The furniture is arranged in a rigid pattern, and the participants do not refurnish as one teacher explains. And then the teacher once say, "Here we have this movable furniture that we could have rearranged. They are neatly formed here, and it will later show that they remained in this formation because this setting afforded possibility for the students to group themselves." And then, however, when students are sequentially asked to construct groups, they avoid the centers of the rooms and place themselves in the margins, creating social distance from the teachers and the others group. And then this is the picture of the group room with students. And then this is the picture when the teacher move around the group. The teacher moves around the groups using different positions in the room to interact with the students and to create different angles to establish involvement. She chose the foreground, the venue in the students' area, and she used teacher space only for a short part of the introduction in the seminar. The absence of linearity in the group room over several paths, not only for the students entering the room but also for the teacher during the seminar. Once the students have chosen their seats, they remain seated. The teacher takes to the floor, crisscrossing in the room. And then in the picture, she moves a chair from one end of the table where no students are seated to another, and so that she can sit down and the same side as two students. She then leans slightly forward so that can she face all students seated at the table. The students keep their position and appear open to the teacher's actions. And then the teacher's comments on her different position in the rooms. And then the teacher said, the way I'm positioning myself is about me not wanting to dominate the discussion. I try to subordinate myself. I don't want to affect the discussion. One goal is to moderate my role. This is the picture when the students and the teachers in the group room. It is clear that moving around, using the layout of the room and furniture, and changing her body position to interact with students are parts of this teacher's conscious didactic designs. She talks about power relations and how she creates different levels in an effort to subordinate herself. The students know that they are going to discuss the literature in group, and they know that the teacher is supposed to interact, and then the teacher does not want to dominate this interaction. And in contrast to the teacher in the lecture hall, this teacher can work with the meaning potential of the room, constructed by all the meta function, and she used the understanding of the genre group rooms that is shared between teacher and students to design the seminar. And then again, the teacher talks of power and of how she used the layout, the textual meaning potential in the room to position herself in relation to the students. However, in this example, she only reaches one individual at a time. The others clearly signal that they are not a part of the discussion. Again, the students have agency and use the available resources, body positions, looking down at tables, reading and learning backwards. So, how can we understand this example using the concept design for learning and design in learning? Even we have this shared understanding of the space as group room, the interaction does not happen itself. And this expert, the teacher, expresses that she has a clear intention with her movements in the room. This is a part of didactic design that could be understood as design for learning. The intention is to have a seminar in space that is understood as a group room. And the teacher draws on this genre during the seminar to build relation and interaction with the students, and she tends to move around in the students' part of the room, avoiding the teacher part, and use different angles on a horizontal axis to create involvement and different levels on a horizontal axis to establish different power relations. And in the interview, she declares that her movement and body positions tones down the power relation in the room. She is relying on the group room as a part of the design for learning in the process design in learning. However, the space and interpersonal metafunction are not fixed. Instead, they have to be worked on throughout the seminar. And then the example above show how students have agency in relation to space and use their position in the room either to signal participation or to declare that they have no intention of taking part in the interaction the teacher is trying to create. In this case, the teacher from is moving around the space. When the students participate, they accept this front as having meaning to them. Students control the situation in this room in different way. For example, students decide where to be seated, choosing position and distance in the room. Another example is students deciding how to interact for in this setting, and then even if this teacher seems to have built in this space as a part of her didactic designing for learning, the space is something she has to reflect open and take action and throughout the seminar. Similarly, the students consider the space of the room as the flexibility in the room over several choices during the seminar. And then the last is a conclusion. This article taught to understand the interplay between space, interaction, and learning sequences in higher education by asking these questions. What kind of rooms do teachers and students encounter, and how are they designed? And then how are the students and teacher interacting using resources afforded by the room? And then a range of semiotic tools have been used to analyze the campus space in this study as three-dimensional text, mainly drawing on Halliday 1978 metafunctional theory that affords a broad way to explore communication metafunctionally as extended by others to three-dimensional and other non-linguistic texts. Kress and Van Leeuwen 2006 1996 combined with design-oriented perspective design for learning. Selander 2008, Selander and Kress 2010. The concept design for learning highlights how space can be a part of a teacher-conscious didactic design. Nevertheless, space constitutes an important part of the setting in creating a learning sequence. When students and teachers enter a room, they read in similar ways and bring this reading into the situation, and then they have expectation of the genre and the affordances of the rooms, and then the result show that both the teacher and the students have agency and use these affordances during the meaning making processes as design in learning. That's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.